this market really a stock picker's market? Let's find out why our next guest, Jordan Kimmel, Chief Market Strategist at First Montauk Securities, thinks I can't even talk today. But listen, stock picker's market, fine. But the question is what to pick right through here.
Right. Well,
how to pick.
Well, Dan, I think that there's this great debate going right now about the old economy, new economy. I think we see it right now today. Old economy stock, Corning comes out with new product. All of a sudden, they transform themselves. So what we have, I developed something called Magnet, and it's a revenue-based model that looks for those companies. I don't care what market it trades on. I need increasing revenues, big profit margins. I need relative strength, and I need stocks that trade at a discount to their growth rate.
But how do you know where to begin to look? There's a gazillion companies.
Yeah, well, again, one of the things I do, and I talk about in a book I have out, which is a bottom-up screening process. You can go in, there's several now programs where you can go in and say, give me a minimum of 15% revenue growth with margins above 8%. You'd be surprised how fast the universe of stocks shrinks when you put on filters like this.
All right, what popular stocks is your system filtering out?
Well, if you mean filtering out, tons of them. In fact,
give us an example. The stocks a lot of people own that you wouldn't.
Give you an example. Gillette, Coke, you know, a lot of the Dow names right now.
Growing fast.
Revenues, and again, I use for the large companies. They can't grow as quickly as some smaller companies.
What about tech stocks? Which ones are you filtering
in tech
out?
stocks is actually, well, I'll give you an example. What we just added to First Montauk's list: Tricon Technologies, TRKN. Not a lot of institutional ownership, but huge revenue growth right now. Huge margin acceleration right here. The fact is, a lot of the names that show up on top of Magnet's list are not household names right now, and that means so many of the big stocks have been so easy to buy by the mutual funds. I think they all poured in the same names, basically.
But how long do they have to have been showing revenue growth for you to potentially put them on your list?
Right. Really just 1 year. 1 year, and then I look at the last quarter to make sure that nothing is slowing down. In fact, Citrix Systems, which everyone's talking about today, was on Montauk's focus list until last week when I removed it, because there was a lot of signs showing me it was time to remove it. So we just removed that off our focus list last week. We currently have the third highest ranking focus list in the country.
What were the signs?
Well, it was slowing revenue, the margins were shrinking, and again, the most effective management in the world can't manufacture earnings if there's no revenue growth. So as soon as the slowdown begins, we try to be nimble and try to not stick with names that we like, that we found quarters and years ago, just because they're comfortable names to us.
So a lot of long-term investors will say, all right, if a company has a bad quarter or two, that doesn't necessarily mean in the long term it's not a good company. You would be a lot more fickle.
No, I wouldn't call it fickle. I'd call it proactive. I think there's a lot of people who said, Grandpa said never sell Bethlehem Steel. Grandpa said never sell Woolworths.
Well, I'm not going that far, but I mean, if a big company, like an IBM, had an earnings warning in a bad quarter, is that enough to sour you on IBM?
Well, actually, IBM ranks out okay on Magnet, but remember when IBM was a sensational stock and they started to stumble, it was a number of years until the stock got healthy again. So I think what people misunderstand is when stocks go on a long run, they tend to base or go down for a long period of time. It's not that one quarter is forgiven. In fact, there's a lot of people who believe that one piece of bad news is followed by another, and those momentum investors won't go near a stock that breaks down short term. So I think what it is not a matter of being fickle, but a matter of I continually rank my universe every day, and each time I'm on the show, I mention it's a stock picker's market. We'll run with our top 30 stocks where the Greenspan is raising rates, and obviously in a hostile environment like that, stock selection is even more difficult and more important. But it really comes down to stock selection and having a set of criteria. And in Magnet, what we think is that we can select stocks that value, growth, and momentum players are all kind of pulled into simultaneously, which is why our stocks tend to move quicker.
Quickly, now there are some stocks that you think are overvalued, such as?
Well, I mentioned a couple. I think Gillette is our biggest short right now. In the tech area, Keen, K-E-A, is right now ranks out as Magnet's best short. We are short the stock, in fact. We're short Gillette, we're short Coke, and a lot of people don't like to go short the market. but we've been in an environment for not months or weeks, but for years, where more stocks have been going down than up.
I want to ask you a very quick question because you have less than 30 seconds. You keep saying it's a stock picker's market. When was it not a stock picker's market?
Well, I think what happens is people are brainwashed into thinking that if you just index and index is index, well, the index keep changing their name. Okay. So I think it is a stock picker's market, Roger. Probably always was, probably always will be.
Jordan Kimmel, thanks very much.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.